What's up everyone, Darkscream here, and before I continue with this vlog, I would like to first apologize for not having a live stream for last Sunday, even though I scheduled one. And there's an explanation to that, and it actually is related to what I'm about to talk about. Well, this morning I woke up to some good, yet possibly bad news. The good news is a JRPG I've been waiting for about 2 or 3 days now has finally announced a Western release, and it's coming out fall of this year. What's the bad news? Well, first I need to explain what the RPG is. It's Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 3, which is part of the Legend of Heroes Trail series. Trails in the Sky, which was on PSP, and it's also on PC. And then there's the Crossbell arc. I believe they're called Aono Kiseki in Japan, and Zero Trails, or Trails to Zero. Those have yet to be localized, though fans like myself are still clamoring to the gates and hoping that it does make it here. But here's the bad news. Trails in the Sky, as well as Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2, they've all been handled by Xseed in the past. But for Trails of Cold Steel 3, much to everyone's fear and paranoia, it was picked up by Nippon Ichi Software of America, or NISA, or NISA for short. Now, why is that a bad thing, some of you might be asking? Well, NISA has been kind of a thorn in most of the Japanese niche gaming culture's side because they have been seen as a terrible localization company. And there's a few examples. Apparently, PS3 ports of Disgaea D2 had some bugs in it that caused the system to crash. There's other games with bugs in them as well. There's also been some weird localization errors and inconsistencies. But I'm going to use a fresh and recent example that was also part of the Falcom library of RPGs. And I apologize if I'm going all over the place. This is impromptu. I've been recording this late night, and I do want to get this out as soon as possible as in its relevancy. But anyways, Nihon Falcom is who also worked on the Legend of Heroes franchise, also work on the Ys franchise, spelled Y lowercase s. And NISA localized Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana. I believe that game came out, I want to say sometime 2017, maybe 2018, but it's the most recent entry in the series. And it was heavily criticized for its bad localization at launch. It was so fucking bad that NISA actually came out with a statement and made an apology and even swore to redo the localization of that game. Not just like fixing translation errors or weird glitches. They would even get the voice actors to read new lines and act them out very differently for a better localization process. Now, while that is commendable of them to do such a thing, and that is good to fix a mistake, they've made mistakes like this in the past. I haven't played Ys 8 yet. I'm waiting for a sale. But how bad do you have to fuck up in order to have to do something like that? And have to come out and say, oh, wow, we actually did screw up. We're sorry. We have to fix this. That's pretty bad. It must have left it definitely left a black eye to Ys fans and to NISA and even to Falcom as well, because they should have learned their lesson to not give them any more of their IPs to work with. But apparently they didn't learn their lesson, or it was too late. And you would think they would stop screwing around because they kept delaying the PC port of the same game, right? I mean, that's why they delayed, so they can, have the new localization and have it up to standard with the PS4. No, it turns out from some sources and from some reviews on the Steam page that the PC port of Ys 8 was even way fucking worse. And apparently that's not the only thing from NISA that apparently has a bad PC port. Which is a damn shame, because you know who does great PC ports? Xseed. But as you can tell from the title, I'm not at full alarm mode. At least not like I was when I announced the fucking Xseed censorship Ascendant Kyber Burst renewal. I am still cautiously optimistic despite all those problems. Now, why is that? Well, I looked up some articles. I will post them in the link below. But they did manage to get key members of Xseed who've worked on the Trails games to work on Trails of Cold Steel 3. And they did get Reen's voice actor to reprise his role, as shown in the trailer, which I will post a link to that below. And yeah, I'm not the type of guy to give up on hope entirely, which is why it's cautious optimism. I've seen some of the comments. Some people are excited. Some of them are like me and cautiously optimistic, and the other ones outrage harder than an SJW. I really can't side with those guys, at least not yet, and I really hope they're wrong and the game actually turns out just fine here in the West. Because I was a huge fan of Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel's 1 and 2. I actually finished the second game this week. I put it off for a couple years, but then I vowed I was going to finish it before the PlayStation 4 re-releases that Xseed is doing. And I do have plans on pre-ordering those and picking those up, and I might stream that on my channel soon. And me trying to beat the second game is the reason why I canceled my stream for last week. Had I been warned that the epilogue was going to be 6 hours long, I would have prepped myself for that, but I didn't. But I am hoping to get a stream out for this Sunday at least, so I can tell you the results of my request review. But yeah, I love these games. They are up there with Persona in terms of my love for JRPGs. It's fucking high on the list. And I would like to play this. And there's a fourth game out too. My guess is they're gonna get that too. I roll my eyes. And I am playing Trails in the Sky right now on PC. Plan to play the second one immediately afterwards. And I might pick up the third one sometime soon. Because these games they're just really good. If you liked Persona, you might want to start with Trails of Cold Steel because it definitely piggybacks some of Persona's ideas. Like, they have like their own versions of social links and shit in that game. You know, bonding with your classmates who end up becoming your allies in battle, and which unlocks new abilities during RPG combat. I guess most hardcore Trails fans would recommend you start with Trails in the Sky. I don't know if I believe them entirely, but I don't think you're going to be that lost with Trails of Cold Steel. However, there's been a lot of references to the fucking Crossbell arc, which I've mentioned before. They've yet to be localized, even though Falcom has interest in bringing all their games to PC, which is the only hope you can give for that franchise, is on PC. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Cautiously optimistic. NISA picking up an IP that they probably should have never laid their fingers on, but they do have key staff members from Xseed working on this. I hope some of them are programmers too. That helps, not just translators, but fucking programmers. And I don't know, man. I definitely did. I am one of those guys who prefer Xseed to handle it, but again, I don't know how these games get localized. I don't know how it works. Something about bidding, something about, you know, selling it to the publisher in the West, or maybe Xseed did have a lot too much on their plate, which is kind of fucking sad because I thought last year Xseed really screwed the pooch. Their fucking gaming library was just fucking horrendous. A bunch of ports of Corpse Party, Book of Shadows, and I think Blood Drive, and Corpse Party 2. The only Corpse Party game that's actually good is the blood-covered one, the one we had originally on PSP. Everything else I thought was terrible. And Bullet Witch, a PC port of the game from the studio that held Yoko Taro back as a creator. And Gungrave VR, because yeah, that's gonna put butts in the seat. Gungrave hasn't been relevant in 10 years, and you're gonna do a VR version of it. But and Senran Kagura Burst Renewal, that was supposed to come out last year, but then it got delayed because Sony fucked them over. So that's my tangent. I apologize for that. So yeah. Please don't rush this. Honestly, I mean, if you have to delay it for a better localization, I can be a little patient about that. But if you could do it right, and if it comes out in the fall, great. Hopefully it comes out after the PlayStation 4 ports of 1 and 2. Because I might do a second playthrough of them before I jump into the third game. So, that's all I got to say. What are your thoughts? Leave a comment if you wish. Like I said, I'll try to do a live stream this Sunday. And with that, this is Darkscream, signing out.